Okay, today, for making the bechamel, second mother sauce you're making, this one's the white sauce. Now, in looking at all the information, if you were to look up bechamel, you would see that Escoffier, Roux Escoffier, actually has two variations of it. The first variation is used just 100% milk, and the second variation uses 1/2 milk and 1/2 white stock, which can be veal stock, like from veal bones. When we use white stock, we refer to it as chicken stock, so a little bit different. So the formula or the recipe I'm going to have you do today is going to be made with variation number 2, which is 1/2 chicken stock. In this case, it's going to be 1 1/2 cup chicken stock and 1 1/2 cup milk. And if you use the powdered milk, you'll use 4 1/2 tablespoons to 1 1/2 cup water. 4 1/2 tablespoons to 1 cup of water. And then for your roux, 3 tablespoons of flour. And on this one, because it's a white sauce, we're going to use oil. So that way we can cook it a little bit slower. You may have noticed on the butter one, with just doing a small amount of roux, it cooked really fast. Where, normally it would take 5 to 7 minutes to cook a roux, it was going really quick. So I think you probably noticed that. And we don't want to add any additional color to this. We want to keep it light. So, got my oil in there. Flour. Roux, perfect flour. And cook. And get that wet pan temperature. Now, I'll tell you, the nice thing about using the powdered milk is you actually could do 100% powdered milk and water and not have the problems of doing, if you use, one of the reasons I changed it up and just went with the second version is when doing whole milk, as soon as you bring it to a boil, you run the risk really strongly to break it, to curdle it. And then you have what looks like this real loose watery cottage cheese for sauce. Doesn't look real good, not real appealing. So, I'm going to get my roux cooking. Again, since it's a small amount, you can see it's moving quick. It's going from that yellow stage. It's popping those bubbles, turning white. That flour's going through dextrinization. It's already starting to smell nutty. Okay, I've got my roux cooled off. But it's still hot. I just don't want it like So, I add my chicken stock. Remember the hot roux, cold stock, cold roux, hot stock. Always opposite. Add my cow juice. And stir. Now, I'm going to let that come to a boil, stirring every so often until we get it nice and smooth. Now, the flavoring for this, other than the chicken stock, is in your kit or in your pickup, you have these. This is a bay leaf. And what's nice is in the Northwest, you can grow these trees. In fact, when you picked up that bay leaf, you picked it up and it was clipped right off my tree that morning. The other thing is, you're going to take your onion and quarter it. Now, the way you quarter it is you want to leave this core so it holds the onion together. And what you're going to do is take your bay leaf and take 2 of your cloves. Those little things that came in a plastic souffle cup, should have like 4 of them. You're going to take your 2 cloves and make what's called an onion pique. Pique, or a studded onion. And so this will hold that together. So as soon as we get this going, as soon as that roux tightens up, we bring it to a boil, reduce down to simmer, put it on depouillage, we'll introduce this in here and let it cook out for that 20 minutes. That'll impart the flavor from the bay leaf, from the cloves, and from the onions. And you can have your onion pique, you can have it made up ahead of time. So just bring this up to a boil. I want to be careful because I know with that milk in there, this can foam up really quick, and so that's why I'm like, every so often you'll see me kind of jump because I don't want it to, well, one, I don't want it to stick, I don't want the roux to fall down, I want it to tighten up, but I don't want it to all of a sudden start to foam up. And as soon as you turn your back, it seems like that stuff happens. Just a little bit of the flavoring from the chicken stock. So still sitting in the bottom. There. And this sauce, now with the mother sauces, remember, after we do the mother sauces, we can make a small sauce from it. So from this mother sauce, you can do, sauteed mushrooms and make a mushroom sauce. There's actually a book called Le Repertoire de la Cuisine, the French book, and it's all the different garnishes that you add to a mother sauce that makes it another sauce. Not to be confused with another mother sauce, but another sauce. It makes it what they call a small sauce. If we had tomato sauce and take the tomato sauce and add a little bit of brown sugar, vinegar, mustard, you come up with a really rough barbecue sauce. So it's anything added to that. So with this, you add a little white wine, mushrooms, you have a nice champignon sauce or a mushroom sauce. Add whipping cream, you have a supreme. So there's a lot of different variations to it. So this is coming up. I'm going to go ahead and introduce this. I'm going to put this to make sure that this gets covered. Just like that, it's fine. I didn't want it to tip up to where it wouldn't get loose. This is tightening up real nice. It should be nice and velvety. Now, all of those bubbles, I can tell, remember the small bubbles? Small bubbles, tell me about the temperature. They're all breaking the surface. We're right there, almost at 212. As soon as that comes to the middle, right there, it's starting to come up like I said. I'm going to reduce my heat. I'm going to take it down to a simmer. See that? So this side of the pot is off the heat over here. So this side here is off the heat. Right here, the heat's coming up this side. It's going to create that convection. So this side's bubbling right here. So right down in here, you can see it's actually bubbling. Over here, it's not. It's pushing all of this over this way. And it's pushing it right by our onion pique. This skim is starting to form right here. And that's going to be the stem cells of the flour. And that's what we'll strain out so we get a nice velvety sauce. So again, this is simmering on dépouillage, so that way we can skim that off later. Okay, I'm going to just let that go for about 20 minutes. We'll come back, we'll strain it, adjust the seasoning, and then we'll finish it and go ahead and take this one into a small sauce so you can see what that looks like. Okay, be back with you in a few. Set up. I have a fine mesh strainer. You can use any strainer. You can use the cheesecloth that you had. Just be careful. Obviously, this is hot. Just like so. And I just want to finish straining out that. Now, if you have nutmeg, it is something that you can add to a bechamel. It is classical. It is a seed that we grind up. You can buy it either whole form or you can buy it already pre-done as a grated product. For our application of what we're doing for a small sauce, I chose not to do that. So just know that that would be one other ingredient. I'm going to take a little bit of butter. I'm just going to mix that in and finish this sauce. Just nice and smooth. And this is called monter au beurre. So mounting with butter, or finishing it with butter. So as you can see, this is just a nice velvety white sauce. This is a bechamel. Remember, this is with the chicken stock, and it would be almost completely white if you did it with just the actual milk. But again, for starting and for just trying it, you just want to just take it easy and do it. That's going to be successful, especially on your first run. So have the roux. It coats the back of the spoon nicely. We have good texture on it. So as it is, you should taste it. If it tastes flat, then add a little bit of salt. If it tastes like it needs a little more body to it, you can actually take and add a little white pepper. Now, for the reason we use white pepper in this, because of the color. We wouldn't, unless our finished dish can accept the black pepper flecks in there, then that's fine. And it's going to give you the same kind of flavor. You want to be easy though, because white pepper can get hot on it pretty quick. Now, to make this into a small sauce, remember I said that you'd use Grueyer cheese to make a Mornay? Well, we didn't have Grueyer, so we had Swiss. And so Swiss is a perfect substitution. And I'm just going to take my Swiss cheese, I'm going to fold that in there so that melts down. Notice, don't have any heat on, just mixing it in. And it might tighten up on you just a little bit because cheese is what we call secondary thickening. So this is going to get a little bit thicker. You can see that starting to tighten right there. Keep mixing that in. So fully incorporated. If you can do this while it's hot. Now I should have popped a picture of my bechamel. I didn't do a very good demonstration there for you. I should have popped the picture for my bechamel and then attached it. But I wanted to make sure that's small size. So you could take this once you strain it, put it back into the pot, heat it up. After you got your picture taken, heat it up. And once it's heated, just hold in your cheese. You don't want to boil it though. Cheese is an oil base. It separates. Those of you who've ever been to the melting, notice how this doesn't hang in my whisk anymore. It tells me that it's mixed in. Those of you who have ever been to the melting pot downtown Portland, this is exactly how that fondue is made. Or if you've ever been to Gustav. So if you listen to me, I said, why don't you make some fresh bread? Because then you could take this and dunk it, and you could use this as fondue. Now this cheese sauce here, if you were to take, this is a good jumping off point where you cook up some pasta, add this sauce to your pasta, and that becomes your mac and cheese. This becomes your base for, this is exactly how you would make your own cheese sauce for doing macaroni. So yes, you could add some white American cheese to it to pop some yellow in there, or just some aged cheddar, or you can add several different types of cheese. I'd stay away from mozzarella, stay from way things because they're too stringy. So if you were to have pasta, like macaroni and cheese, then all of a sudden you go and put it in, go to grab your noodle, put it to your mouth, and it like hangs on the plate. Not really good. So for this fondue, this is the Mornay sauce, but I'm calling it fondue because it kind of is. It's thinner, but it's like velvet. Just like so. And maybe take my bread. Like that. Might even cut it up in smaller pieces. And I want some kind of garnish there. So on this, you know what? Because it's a fondue, at least that's what I'm calling it for this application. That black pepper looks well and pops it right off the plate. Might even take a little bit of my own seasoning, a little bit of red, give it a little depth, a little texture. And that's what you can do. And again, if you were going to make this to make it, right? Make it to make it for your competency, then yeah, just doing the small sauce Mornay, that's fine. But since you have it at home, I wanted to give you another application for it to be able to eat it. So that's your assignment. I hope you guys have fun. Remember, I'll check in. If you have any questions, just send them to me. Talk to you guys later and have fun doing this. Bon appetit.